We just had a really interesting chat in the speakers room getting ready for this discussion. We're really excited to show some good examples of how tokens, in particular, can really play out in the entertainment industry, allowing people to participate, allowing people to have more of an engagement with the brands that they love. So I want to start out just with the basic stuff. Let's all introduce ourselves, your role, the organization, and how this is connected to tokens. So Natalya, you can start.
So I'm basically working 10 years for Fashion TV now. Did a long trip and and now I'm a chief of marketing and digital media. But recently in March we launched a new project, which is ICO, and we're at pre-sale stage now. We have Fashion TV coin, which is usable in different ways. I will explain maybe a bit later, but we're developing few products based on the blockchain technology. And that's why I'm here, I guess.
Thank you.
Yeah, Marco, I'm the founder of Mazi. We're one of the leading community management and marketing firms, working with 27 ICOs, helping them raise around $500 million. We're not doing an ICO ourselves, or at least I'm not yet, but I am an advisor on 6 ICOs, where our ICOs use tokens, in our case with community, to help them create content which allows to drive exposure during their private sale, public sale, basically to raise their hard cap.
Good afternoon, my name is Oron. I'm from CoinPoint agency. We are started in the blockchain ecosystem back in 2013 with our first existence in Manila, Philippines. Today we have another office here in Sofia. We are looking at this ICO market from marketing, from branding, from education point of view. Most of our business, I would say, is not ICO related, it's other stuff in the ecosystem, but we are also involved in ICOs. Very similar to what Marco is doing.
Hi, I'm JC Oliver. I used to be Global Head of Innovation for Microsoft for about 10 years, Global Chief Creative Officer for AOL and Verizon. Had a number of different companies that I founded, sold. Some we've had to sunset for different reasons, and specializing now in the blockchain space as a consultant, as an advisor, and here today to talk about MovieCoin. We are looking to create access and liquidity for the movie industry, which is still a fantastic industry, but is definitely in need of some innovation and some change. And I hope today we'll talk about what the purpose is of MovieCoin and why we're looking to reimagine entertainment with crypto and with blockchain.
Excellent. Well, I guess I should introduce myself as well. My name is Ofir Avigad. I'm the CEO of Ignite, and we do marketing in the blockchain space. We work with various companies. So I wanted to start with the first question. What is the main use case for tokens? I guess for Natalya and for JC, it's for your organization. And then for Oron and for Marco, I guess a client that you could choose or things that you see out there. What are the main use case for tokens in your organization? Why you're excited about using a token for your project?
Okay, so I'm gonna start. Fashion TV exists 22 years on the market, and actually we're covering 350 million households in more than 200 countries. And I think the first one, we started to accept Bitcoin and Ethereum for the advertising. And then we saw that...
When was this?
That was in October 2017. So I guess we was the first TV station which started to do so. And then we saw that there is a demand. And then we started to look into our own project. And in some ways, the blockchain technology can help different ways. So one of them, we are doing a lot of model competitions, and we see that like girls, models who are participating, and there is online voting, they're complaining after that maybe the votes were fake, maybe someone paid for this, So in order to show and to eliminate this question, the use of blockchain is really good, because everything is through smart contracts, everything stayed encrypted, so it's proven that nothing is fake. And we did the first test of such online competition. Now we had a ground competition in Turkey with 40 models, and we created online page for voting where people can vote and also use the token for voting, like to purchase extra votes. And we saw that more than 50,000 people voted in 7 days. So it was quite a good result for the first time. Of course, we promoted it, and the models promoted themselves in order to get more votes. And I was crowning the queen of online competition, so it was good. Yeah, and there are a few more things which we are developing. One of them is a marketplace for the luxury goods. We are doing the deals with different brands, and want to give a possibility for owners of crypto actually to shop online with a discounted price. So basically, as we have a good cooperation with brands like Dolce & Gabbana, Louis Vuitton, etc., they're giving us lower price, 50% lower for goods, and that means for the crypto audience, it will be a benefit, to shop on this store.
So some good news for the crypto fashion lovers.
Yeah, but it's still in development. It's coming. That's a few products which we are working on, and still trying to develop something else, which is a secret still. Maybe I will tell you next time.
Okay. Marco?
Well, on my side, I see tokens being a very successful we're a different way that our projects, in our case, because we're not doing an ICO, but our projects are, for them to get exposure, they need to have marketing. I mean, I think entertainment itself runs on marketing, and I think most industries run on marketing. And the way we focus at it at Mazi is that we give the potential to people that have never had the potential to either write a content or in a way use their knowledge to position our clients' projects. So in our case, the token model works very well for our clients to market themselves. They come at a very low budget, which is also a very cool thing. So when a company starts, when a project starts, ICO, STO being a security token, when they start and they come with limited budget, they ask us, what is a way that your team can help us with this minimal budget market ourselves? So we have to work with a budget of sometimes even 10K to build for them a roadmap and a strategy that they can use to expose to 100,000 people in the community or more. I don't know currently a lot of current industries that haven't been disrupted in this way, where they're using something smaller than 10K to position their project or ICO to such a big community that where they can raise. Let's take ICOs of last year, where a company raised $100 million in 10 minutes or in 5 seconds. The only way they were able to do this is by using tokens. But in order to get the general consensus of a big crowd to invest in them. Previously, VCs were 3 to 6 months, and it still is. It's 3 to 6 months to raise your money, and it's not 100 million. It's, you raise 2 million seed capital. Now, with the ICO, okay, the market right now is not at its best, but with the token model, you're able to give people the possibility to expose your project to a huge community which can invest in yourself. So we have the private model, which is invest at an early stage using a VC, and then we have the public token sale where you expose it to the community. So we focus a lot on the public sale, where we expose it to all these big members, and they're able to invest in a project that they would have never been able to invest in. So the entertainment industry, bringing this back to the entertainment industry, is imagine how many people would like to brand themselves in this world. They're willing to sell themselves, their content, their brand, their video, music, DJs, all these artists. We put them in the token industry, and now they have the position to raise money for themselves without using any marketing whatsoever. That's where I see that we use it as an ICO, and where I see this entertainment industry is the power to the content, power to the user. Let's say proof of users is how I would position this.
Proof of users.
Yeah.
Proof of users is a nice
New
coin
protocol.
term.
My point of view is a bit different, and I will zoom out from the ICO back to blockchain, which basically changed our life, changed my life, and changed the life of the people sitting here, and changed our life of the people here in the panel with disabilities, with the new abilities and the new technology, and tokens or tokenizing of things is one of them. As a market changer or as a game changer in the entertainment industry, I can give an example from a broadcasting solution that I saw before, when the end user can verify using the blockchain technology, can verify that this specific stream is legit, and this specific stream is coming from the main server of the actual merchant that is trying to buy from or to get from. In the iGaming industry, which was the first or the biggest one that adopted the blockchain technology and tokens as well, there is a new term, or not new anymore, but it's called probably fair, when the player can verify the result of the game after he played the game, which is a totally game changer in this specific industry. And today, when we see the tokens coming into communities inside different spaces, again, we're talking about entertainment, so if it's the movie industry, gaming industry, sports betting, and so on, you see that it helps build a community together. It helps to gather the people together. I don't think that an ICO should go out and say, come and invest because I have a beautiful ICO. Maybe this is a different type of investors. It's more into, you are already part of our community, you're already part of our solution, you already believe in our solution, or you want to believe in our solution, put your trust in it with the token.
Thank you.
Okay, put your hands up if you have been to the cinema. Ever. Find a time period. You've never been to the cinema. You have. You've been. Yeah. See, everyone's been to the cinema. Everyone loves movies, right? And the trouble with the entertainment business at the moment is it's pretty screwed, because it's been predicated on business models that have existed for years. And people talk, when we talk about entertainment and media businesses, people think it's very easy to do. In fact, it's probably one of the hardest businesses to run. And the reason why is because you've got technology. So in the movie business, you've got cameras, you've got projectors, you've got property, right? You've got, it's crazy how much technology goes into that. You've got a business model that has been predicated on producing, distributing, and then exhibiting. And then the hardest part about the media business is the creativity. It's very difficult to try and harness creativity in a way that has some type of model around it. And Jack Welch said this when he bought NBC. He said, if I got the best scientists and the best engineers, over time I can create the best jet engine. But if I get the best writers and the best directors and the best actors, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have the best movie or the best TV show. And in a number of cases, it doesn't. So we have to look at how we're reimagining what the entertainment business is going to be as we move forward. And there's three different areas. One is production, one is distribution, and one is consumption. And for me, we're entering a new phase with tokenization that totally transformed the value set. So with production, and let's just take movie companies as a whole, production, Paramount Studios, Universal, they spend a lot of money, and they tend to make some money, but a lot of the time they break even. A lot of the money in the movie industry and in the entertainment industry is made in distribution. So that's where a lot of it is made, and the audience doesn't get anything for any of this, right? The only thing that you get when you go to the cinema is you pay for a ticket, and the value exchange is an emotional one. So I recently went to see Mission Impossible 6. If no one's seen it, it's a very good movie. I spent £25 on the ticket with my wife, and it was a good movie, so it was 2 hours worth spending on a Friday night. But I got no remuneration for that in any way. But what we can do with tokenization, with crypto, and with MovieCoin, is that we can attach a value to your behavior from a consumption perspective. So if I go to the cinema once a month, great. But if I go 5 times a week, I should be remunerated for my behavior, for seeing certain movies and for the frequency of going, in a way that someone who only goes once a month shouldn't get. So what we're able to do now with what we can do with tokens is we can attach that to someone's behavior. And we can say, if you come 5 times a month, we're going to remunerate you with a movie coin, and that movie coin can then be used for a certain, whatever it might be, merchandise, could be buying tickets, could be downloading movies, could be going to the cinema again. You build 10 movie coins and you get 50% off your movie ticket. What we're doing now, and what's most transformative, is that we're able to give people back a certain value for their behavior. And that's never been able to be done before in the entertainment industry without a blockchain or some type of coin that sits on top of that. So that's transformational. When it comes to the production side, we're looking to create liquidity into Hollywood movies. As you probably know, Mr. Harvey Weinstein has been transforming the industry for the worse. We're going through a cultural renaissance with #MeToo. The movie business is looking at itself and saying, how do we reimagine and reinvigorate ourselves in a way that is for the 21st century? And they're having to do that culturally, they're having to do that from a business perspective financially, but they're doing that technologically. And if you want to invest in a Hollywood movie, anyone in this room can't do it. It's impossible to do. It's owned by probably a cabal of about 300 people that exist in the world. If you're a massive fund, you can invest, but it's a very small community of people. What we're able to do moving forward from a tokenization perspective on the production and distribution side is allow anyone to invest in this now through a token. That's never been able to be done before. We're giving you access and we're creating a new liquidity stream for producers to produce movies, but also you to invest in a movie. So if on one of our slates, if we've got Quentin Tarantino and Leonardo DiCaprio going into a big movie and you think that sounds like a good investment, you can now invest in that through MovieCoin. So we're trying to reimagine both the production, the distribution, and the consumption. And I feel that without blockchain and without tokenization, we've not been able to do that before. So it's a reimagining of not only the movie industry, but as we're saying, the gaming industry, the music industry. And let's face it, the traditional media companies have totally fucked it up previously. It's been your Spotify's, it's been, as we're moving forward, your Tattoos, your movie coins. These companies have been looking to try and reimagine. The older companies need to try and understand and try and go with this flow, otherwise they will be left behind in this new era. So I think it's transformational.
That's a lot of interesting stuff you just said. I had so many ideas to comments.
Do you know what? I felt like because we've got an hour, I could probably wax lyrical for a little bit of time.
You're right. Actually, I love the spirit that you're bringing. I just read yesterday. I was thinking about that now. I just read yesterday that Paris Saint-Germain, which is one of the largest football clubs in the world, has decided to issue its own cryptocurrency with a company based in Malta, and they're going to allow people that hold a token to vote on, who's the best player of the match, or who should be the captain, the next captain of the team if the current captain is, moved away, or when they're not playing official games, when they're doing the summer games to promote the team in, United States or whatever, where should the team, which cities they should go through, and I think that this brings me to the next topic that I really want to explore together, because basically what we've heard from this first round of comments is there's a lot of place where you give people access in terms of financial, you give people discounts, you give people a loyalty program where if they're constant consumers they get loyalty, which doesn't just mean they get discounts, but they can also have access to the brand. And then the last thing, which was very much financial, is that they can fund the next movie if they think it's a good idea. And one very interesting thing is this is going to happen in every industry. For example, gaming industry, I'm a very excited and passionate gamer, has for years been using the Kickstarter model for indie games. So if you want a specific game with pixel art that talks about dragons and Atlantis, and you're not going to just expect this game to be created out of thin air, you can go on one of these platforms and say, I want a game developer to make this game, and if enough people fund it, somebody will make the game, and you're going to be very happy, and it's going to be your own little dream come true. Because indie games are much cheaper to make than a Hollywood movie. And then what happens with the Hollywood
movies, right? We have indie movies. And I think indie movies, which require some funding.
Yes.
Independent movies, yeah.
So I think it's a fascinating way to say, there's a relationship between, because one of the things we see, by the way, in Hollywood is that there's not a lot of diversity in the movies that come out, the big ones. They have all sequels or reboots or Marvel, basically. So it's an interesting way to say, hey, maybe the audience wants to see a movie about, I don't even know what, I'm not going to have an idea right now. And then so many people are going to back that, not just with votes or likes, but actually with more money. Somebody's going to go out there and make a campaign. And then you can say, I was there early and I get money because this movie is now being made.
Yeah.
So what I want to talk about next, because I think that's a great way to talk about here, is how people can participate and influence the industries that they're passionate about, how people can participate and influence in fashion, in movies, and in anything that you guys have your hands on or you can see yourselves. So I'd love to start with you again.
No, I think we're giving, actually the crypto and the blockchain gives people a lot of opportunities to be a part of any project, as you mentioned. So to be, like, basically, in order, for example, to invest in fashion TV, you need a lot of money, right? But now, with the token and the things that we are running, each of you, any person in the world can be part of this big company and say, okay, I hold fashion TV token, and now I can like participate in different things which are fashion TV doing. Also, we are giving and proposing different programs for the token holders, like events, tickets for our events. Some of them can win a trip and attend, for example, Miss Fashion TV contest, or you know. So basically, anyone have a chance now to be part of this company, to touch it somehow, and you know. And this was not possible before. So that's, I guess, what is the tokenization is giving us. And for the entertainment, and entertainment is a big part of our daily life, you know. We eat, we sleep, but without entertainment, I mean, it will be very boring, you know. So everyone wants to see movies, everyone wants to see beautiful models, everyone wants to, you know, to listen music.
And beautiful fashion. So.
Yeah, or maybe not more, maybe male models, maybe female models, maybe just to see the nice dresses. But that's, if we remove the part of entertainment from our life would be boring. Maybe it's not the need, it's more the desire, like a Maslow's pyramid, but still something that we need to have, I guess.
I guess one thought that I had now that's potentially interesting is to allow for people to participate in a way where, for example, you could have young designers or up-and-coming designers that are not huge, and they could have like a voting competition that if you hold Fashion TV tokens, you could say, I want to see this model wearing that fashion. Which is something that previously you're just a consumer. You just, you know, you watch the models and you watch the fashion coming up, but you have no way to influence what you're going to see.
You can also, I was thinking about other things. You can also, for example, give a chance to young models, and you know, to give chance to people to invest in their career, and you know, like through the token, and help the young girls to make it big. For example, a girl from, I don't know, some small city in Ukraine, she has, of course, less chances than the girl from lives in Milan, you know, to get to Milan and to be in the top brand show. So that's also something that can be done, I guess. Still not done, but maybe at some point we will start working on it. The same with the designers. Give the chance for people to vote, and maybe we can, you know, sponsor, help them with the collection, or promote them on Fashion TV, promote the model on Fashion TV. This is already, if you, a small designer, this is a dream for them, you know, to be on the international channel in between of big brands.
Yes, of course.
So maybe we can help and make some people more happy. I hope. I think this is the meaning of our living, you know, to help others, and to, and maybe with the Fashion TV it's in a different way, but I guess we can all together, and using the crypto and the tokens, we can do a lot of things in this world.
Amazing, thank you.
Taking it off from where she just left, it was a lot to take in. It's like so much passion. I guess I want to ask, how many of us had a dream when we were kids?
Oh man.
A dream.
Yeah, a dream.
Still have.
Yeah.
Just one.
I still have this dream. I still have a dream to become a professional football player. I think what...
No one laughed, no one's laughing, no one laughed.
No. I think what this crypto blockchain technology is allowing to do is giving the potential to people to fulfill that dream. Because there's limitations for you in order to achieve or succeed in this dream, and it's usually money, sponsorships, opportunities that people in life are limited to have, and it's primarily because of these, and also there's no role models out there that are trying to push you into the market, that are helping you, mentor you to get up there. So Where I see the whole blockchain world is, one, it helps people stake you. For example, let's take the poker industry. Right now, in the poker industry, people are able to stake you to become a poker player. They're able to take a position of what you're willing to bet to succeed in the future. There's been a case where there's this court case between a multi-billionaire and his wife in Milan. And the court case is that she sued him and he owes her $600 million. What's happening now is that there's people, investors, that are willing to stake their position in order to take some risk off of their court case. What I'm getting to is, in this world, what we need is also fairness. We need people that are able to get a position in life to say, yes, I believe that this is something big, I'm willing to take a position in it, and I'm willing to take a risk, but make some further money in it. This hasn't been the case with VCs in the regular industry, and with most of the industries that are trying to raise money or trying to achieve, and also us as personal experiences. If there was a role model or mentor in my life to give me more training and push me into the market, I think I would have had a better chance of succeeding at an earlier age. It's the same for models, it's the same for artists, it's the same for DJs. This will take it as a personal level. Where I also see the blockchain industry coming in is fairness. And fairness goes back to what JC said, with you attending a movie at a certain time or at certain times of the week, and you want to have a better price. I think we could take this not only as a movie industry, the entertainment industry, I'll take it also in insurance. I'll take it also in housing. You want to take a bigger risk and go and invest in more movies, go invest in more housing. I think you should have the right to better leverage in these spaces. The same with insurance. If you're driving better than someone else, your insurance price should drop. So I think where the blockchain comes in is also giving this fairness in the world to give you transparency and trust. And this is not only in these markets, it's also in governance, it's also in banking. If I'm a good, I have a good credit score, or I believe in pushing money, giving money out to people to help them in the future, then I should have a better access to rights in banks, a lower rate, a better interest rate to afford things in the future. Mm-hmm. And this is where blockchain is getting people. But it can only succeed, and this is something that I spoke to Miko Matsamura, which is one of the biggest blockchain evangelist influencers, is how does this happen if currently it's so hard to invest in a project? It's so hard to buy into crypto. Even myself, when I started at an earlier age to buy into Kraken, then get myself into crypto, it required me a 1-month validation. Now, it then took 3 months, then 1 year. And right now, to get non-crypto people into the crypto world, it requires education, which is non-existent. It's very minimal, and it requires validation from the top people, such as the bigger banking companies, the mobile operators, fashion TV, the brands in the market like Apple, Facebook, to start adopting blockchain in order to make their life better and to make our life better. Because without their adoption, whatever I said means shit. Like, honestly, it won't get anywhere further than what we are now. So it needs to get validated from the top people and to then be pushed out as an educating to everyone else in the market. Only then can we actually use this blockchain. So in a way, the meaning here is that entertainment industry is perhaps, as a very broad term, one of the things that touches the most people in the world, because as Natalya said, everyone wants to have recreation. Without it, life is very boring. Yeah. And to have these kind of brands push out the crypto and blockchain messages is going to help us reach a massive audience, far more than another decentralized exchange. And that's what we're trying to do as a community management company. We push it out to huge communities. Right now we're just doing it for projects, but essentially where I see ourselves is actually to start building this to bigger scale, bigger brands, get it open with the use of everyone that's in this room, everyone that's building something around blockchain or off, is to start pushing it to all the audiences around the world, because that's what internet was made for.
Oron.
The ICO market is not so white as maybe we present it here, because we're talking about the entertainment system, entertainment markets. ICO basically have a very, very bad reputation because of most of the people involved in the industry, most of the project, and we are talking about very small percentage of ICOs that are coming to solve problems. Entertainment is a good example, but there is a lot around it which gives bad reflect from the market. The second thing that is very important to understand that here in this room, all of us know what is blockchain and how it works in some level. But once you go outside, I think the adoption will be around 1% or 2%. So 10 people outside here in Sofia, you ask them about Bitcoin, if they ever use Bitcoin, if they know how it looks like and so on, maybe one will know to answer. And that gives me to the point that once we're talking about tokenization of things, and Paris Saint-Germain is a good example because the end user don't really care that you give him solution based on the blockchain. Mm-hmm. The end user don't really care that it's token or not token. He just want to be part. So like he buy the scarf, he will buy the token.
Did you say it was did you say it was a good example?
It's a brilliant example.
Ah, okay.
The same with poker players. They less care about if it's token and how I use it, and if it's more about the usability. If you create the tools, if we create the platform that allows people to take part and to participate, we know that it's an ICO, we know that it's token and it's based on a blockchain, and we know how it works. But the end user just need to know that it's working for him, it's engaging to whatever he believes in, mm-hmm. movie, entertainment, soccer, and so on, and helps him to be part of the community. We talked about it before, but big anti-crypto associations like MoneyGram, for example, are transferring money worldwide with cryptocurrencies. So even if it's not cryptocurrency per se, if it's not coming outside and say, listen, we're using the blockchain technology, sometimes it still happens on the blockchain, sometimes the blockchain gives them a solution, sometimes the tokens are theirs, and the ICO, of course, backing these tokens. And it's all about the big word of adoption. We are fighting this adoption. We're trying as much as we can from our side, from our agency, to help people understand that it's not so difficult. And even if it's difficult, there are tools that are being developed every day to help it, to make it easier. I just got free Bitcoin Cash from some guy that I met before. It was instant. And once the adoption will grow, and once we'll go outside and 5 people out of 10 will know what is blockchain and Bitcoin, then everything will move forward.
I just want to comment one thing that I love what you're saying here, where basically you don't ever buy products because of the database that you're using, and blockchain is in a sense a database. So the question is about user experience and how we're delivering people just a better experience. They don't have to care that it's blockchain, they just have to care that it's better for them.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point here, right? The question you should ask yourself, everyone in this room should ask themselves, when you go into a fair, like the company outside sitting out there, well, I don't know what it was called, Token Watch, right? Ask yourself the question, why are you here and why are you doing what you're doing? Because I find about 90% of the time, people, brands, businesses don't need blockchain, right? It's just as simple as that. You're talking about voting. I think the PSG idea is a bad idea, actually. It's not a bad idea per se, as in, what are they doing? But the fact that you're going to give me a PSG coin back for voting on the team, I mean, who cares? Like, you can do that anyway. Like, if I need to vote on whether Marquinhos should be in the team or whether Neymar should be ahead of Cavani, right? Do I need a coin for that? No, I can just go on and press a button. That's called interactivity. And if in response you want to give me something for my participation, you could maybe give me a 50% coupon off the next match I go to. You don't need a coin for that. You don't need blockchain for that. You don't necessarily need blockchain for a number of businesses. Distributed ledger technology doesn't always need to have blockchain behind it. So the question you have to ask yourself as we move forward, what does the entertainment business need blockchain for, right? And we touched on 2 of the T's. I call them the 3 T's, right? Trust, transparency, which we just mentioned, and then the final one is transaction. So with transaction, if we look at the Hollywood business, Hollywood has been traditionally known for what's called Hollywood accounting, which basically means, you know, any production company. So when we release a movie in the cinemas, it takes 18 months, a year and a half, for the production company, Paramount, to get the money back on the opening weekend. 18 months, that's ridiculous. Where does the money go? Well, people hold the money so they make interest on it on overnights, and someone touches it here, someone touches it here. By the time it gets back to the production company, the distributor or the exhibitor has already said, well, out comes the marketing budget, out comes this. That's just way too long a process. Then someone says, oh, JC, my friend JC had to do this with it, and so he took a 5% fee. Well, who's JC, and why is he taking 5% of my money? Oh, well, you know, we have to... All of it is a lack of trust, a lack of transparency. And so With this business and with a lot of businesses, you can say, right, we need some type of distributed ledger technology that can prove who's touching my money, and then from a transaction perspective, how quickly it's getting back to the rights owner or to the person who's produced it. That's what you need blockchain technology for, because you're able to say, right, I can pay you quicker in a currency that is not fiat. Because the problem with fiat is that someone says, I can't pay you, I give you dodgy numbers. With MovieCoin or with another coin in a business, if I can prove to you that I can transact and then see who's touched it and give you that back quicker, then it's worth using blockchain technology and worth creating a currency. I don't think it's worth doing because someone needs to vote on a football team and then I give them back some type of coin for their loyalty based on that. Like, loyalty has to be proven out. I have to see that you've been to my cinema or watched my movie 10 times. I mean, like, I watched, what movie did I watch? I just had a son, so I was in the hospital for 5 days, and okay, you can laugh at me, but I watched
Mazel tov.
I watched Dirty Dancing in the hospital, the 1987 version. It was actually quite good. I've probably watched that movie 10 times. The producer of that movie, because I've watched it 10 times compared to someone who's watched it once, maybe I should get more back for that loyalty. And so and maybe that is a coupon, maybe it's not a coin. But it should be something. So I think the question we have to ask ourselves in the entertainment business is, why do we want to use blockchain technology? And it goes back to those 3 T's: trust, transparency, and transaction. If we can pay our talent, if we can pay rights owners quicker and more efficiently with more transparency, which we can do with something like MovieCoin, then all the better. If you're just asking me to vote and you're going to give me something back, I can do that in other ways.
I mean, I think what Ofir was trying to get to is, because yes, you have a point, like we don't need blockchain to have loyalty rewards, but when it comes to corrupting the system or having, you stake a token. So for instance, if you want to pick or vote for a player to play because he's been playing for the past 3 weeks awesomely and he has the chance to get better, then you stake a token. I think what you could do is in return, you get a bonus.
Yeah.
So in return, this is what we're doing for air jobs, bounty, whatever, is you get it in return a reward because you helped the team maybe score more. You know, you all pick the best players, and at the end of the day, the team actually did better because of all the votes from the people. In that case, that's where I see a loyalty reward that you were a part of the success of the team. Yeah. So that's where I would see blockchain. And there's no other system that could do that.
No, and also I think, you know, traditionally in marketing, if I see an outdoor poster outside for McDonald's that says download a new voucher, it's like that channel does not promote a digital channel. What we know happens is that if I see some type of advertising for an app and I can click on that ad and it goes straight into the app store, I'm more likely to download the app. And then within that, the point I'm trying to make here is the point Oron you made, which is about the gaming industry. The gaming industry, if I'm playing Fortnite, within that game, or if I'm playing any casual game, there are microtransactions within those games that I might want to get a better jacket or a better sword, or I might want to jump further by paying for something. Now, creating an economy within the gaming industry makes a lot of sense. And if you can create a Fortnite coin, Fortnite as in the game, right? Not as in the time period, I mean, or whatever game, any gaming economy that is created by some of these big companies. If I have a coin, if I do something in the game and I get rewarded for that with some coin, and then I can use that to transact and buy something better, like an extra life, that makes total sense. But what does that mean for the music business? What does that mean for the movie business? It makes a lot of sense from what you said, Oron, because it's driving me to participate and interact within that economy much greater than if I have to come out of it and pay with sterling or pay with dollars. If you create your own economy, that makes total sense. We have to say, what is the reason for us using that in the movie business? Because when I'm watching a movie, it's a passive experience. I'm not investing, I'm not necessarily buying something directly off screen. If George Clooney is wearing a new coat, maybe there is something there so I can use MovieCoin to buy from the screen. That makes sense to me. But we have to go back to what is the purpose of using blockchain and using crypto within these spaces. You've got to come up with a good purpose.
So I'm going to argue that one of the hardest things to do, as a marketer, one of the hardest things to do is to get people to participate in products and to stay there. So blockchain is a very early technology. Most people don't even talk about user acquisition, let alone about retention. So retention is the practice of having users remain in your product, and you have 30-day retention or 90 days retention. I would say that retention is such a bigger problem than user acquisition because it costs $1 or $1.50 or $2 to acquire a user, but it doesn't mean anything if he's gone in 2 days.
Correct.
And so one of the interesting things about tokens that is basically in any token that you have is incentivization. You're incentivizing people to take actions, and you're incentivizing people to stay tuned, because maybe if this becomes a big deal, they will have been rewarded for having been there early or having cared at the right time. And I think that it's a great way to create snowball. So it's a great way to team up with your early adopters and say, you guys get credit for coming here early. And I think that applies to any industry and any business in general. If you need people to believe in you when you're small, and they can have something out of it. The first people who used Facebook, or the first 1,000 users of Instagram, caused a great deal of, value for Instagram. But the Instagram doesn't care about those people. They don't have any special status in that space. So I think that's an interesting thought of how we use incentivization.
But I guess the best way to involve people in like investing in movies, investing in artists, in models, anything, is just to give them pay them back in tokens when, for example, when the movie is distributed already and making money, so those people can earn as well, because they invested. So get percent on,
And that's very much the security tokens that's on the rise right now.
Which is, coming.
It's a harder game to play, but it has values that make sometimes more sense than utility.
I guess this would be very well for such type of projects, so people can feel the part of it, and plus, they, as soon as someone invests, they want to see a return on investment, I guess. That's basically.
Yeah, for me, we're at a very early stage of implementation of blockchain. Because blockchain, people, 15 years ago, internet was code and HTML and this and that. Today, internet is, I have a profile on Facebook. No one's asked you when you created this profile, code this, code that, put this image there, put that image there in HTML or CSS or JS or whatever. Right now, it's just like, here's a dashboard, here's your profile, you're good to go. And that's where blockchain has to get. Blockchain has to get to the point where, I'll take, for example, my father who runs a car wash wants to maybe raise more money or wants to give people the access of vouchers and stuff like this, but using blockchain because it reduces the cost. It doesn't have contractual. He doesn't have to go to a government. He doesn't have to sign papers. It's all there in a contract. And that's for every industry. In the future, where I see the blockchain going, and it's going to take time, and people have to have patience in this space because no one has patience. Unfortunately, they've all seen the rise and dump of money. So what needs to happen, even in entertainment, is if I want to create my own movie, I will install the smart contract very easily without coding, without going and hire a Solidity expert that cost me $60K to put that in there. And in that case, I could start fundraising and having all the contracts and everything the whole production and all the pieces that JC said that you need to hire is in 1 day, I could potentially have all that ready to run my business. And that's where internet started. And when people initially started with websites, it's like, your company needs a website. Why? Because your company is going to get more exposure in the market. Back then, it wasn't so easy to create a website as me hiring my PR manager, and here's your WordPress dashboard, and in 1 day I have a website. That's where blockchain has to get. In 1 day, if I want to use blockchain in 15 years from now, or hopefully sooner because blockchain is moving so fast, someone has created for me a very easy to use system, even an application that I can put on top of my project, and I have it running on blockchain.
I would argue that most of the work around creating a new token is not issuing a new ERC20 token, because that does take creating a new WordPress website. It's getting the legal set up, and it's understanding what the use case around it, what the tokenomics are, and creating either, if not a white paper because you're not raising money, then at least the token economics around that.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that has very early stages of establishing.
That's where I want everyone here to stop thinking of blockchain or cryptocurrency as it's a market crash, it's this, is that. No, the technology is there to stay. The technology is not going to leave. It's just very complicated right now to explain. and there's the wrong people in the market explaining it. But once we get to the stage of we have the right protocols, the right infrastructure, the right use, then we're at next phase, next generation.
But I think Oron said it earlier, it's not just a question of bad execution, it's also a question of questionable intentions. The last year and a half has seen many people come in and say, oh, look at that, free money, let's raise some of it. And I don't know where a lot of those people are, but $23 billion have been raised by ICOs in the last year and a half. So even if 10%, which is $2.3 billion out of that, becomes big companies, that's a lot of money for innovation. Which I would bless any new industry with such an amount of money to fund people with good ideas.
By the way, talking about the value of the token, we're ignoring this part, because if tomorrow I will not be a PSG fan anymore, or maybe 2 days after I will not like to go to the movies anymore, I will still have my token that I can trade and I can sell it outside. So unlike buying the scarf of PSG and the day that I'm going to support Marseille, I will destroy it to the garbage. Once I have the token, I can sell it to another guy, which is a big fan of PSG, and make money out of it.
And that's where the question we were asking earlier. What is it an account of? Is there some transactional value with that, and you still have that with the token? Just to the point on incentivization, what's interesting is at school your teachers used to tell you to pay attention. JC, pay attention. Now we've swapped that round the other way. Now you're paying me for my attention, right? They're paying me. So we've transformed me paying to someone paying me for the attention that I'm giving. And there's a very famous rule, I think Nike designed this, which was called the 1-9-90 rule. Have people heard of the 1-9-90 rule? So the 1-9-90 rule was designed for social media, that 90% of your audience would consume, 9% would participate, and 1% will create, right? And what you touch on with the incentivization is absolutely true. And the 1-9-90 model doesn't change. 90% of people will just consume, and we should remunerate those people for that consumption habit, right? Which we haven't been able to do before. Then the participatory piece, we should remunerate those people more for, let's just say it's social, commenting. If I watch a video, I consume it, great. If I then comment on that, I should be remunerated with some type of token, and maybe I get one token for consuming, 1.5 for participating, and then from a creation perspective, I should probably get 5 tokens. And Andre touched on this in the previous panel, where he said, you look at YouTube, are paying 3% to their creators. That's total bullshit. The whole platform is predicated...
Is that literally the truth? 3%?
Yeah, that's the truth. You don't make any money unless you're Joe Suggs or Zoella, who are like making 2-3 mil a year because they got such big numbers. Most people, they don't even mess around with you unless you haven't got 10,000 followers, right? They won't even talk to you. As soon as you've got over 10,000 followers, you've started to create an economy that's worthwhile for YouTube. But what's the incentive for creators to create on that platform when I'm not being incentivized? 3% of £100 is £3. Gee whiz, I could buy a lollipop. I mean, So let's think about how tokenization can really incentivize creators, participators, and consumers, because then I think we're creating a real new entertainment economy that transforms the way we can create that content. If someone's a really good model, like the best model in the world, you can create a security, or you can tokenize that model. I might be able to say, right, I think the new model, let's just make up a name, Katalina Vakova. Katalina Vakova is going to be the new best model. I want to buy, it sounds like a good name, right? Maybe she is real. She's real in my head. But and then if off the back of that, we're incentivizing her, she creates even better catwalks, or better, she goes into the movies. I don't know. I just think we can incentivize using, I don't want to say crypto, using blockchain and tokenization to create a whole new set of A, consuming, A, participation, and lastly, creation. And I think that is transformative.
Mm-hmm. To take this example of YouTube, and you cannot make money out of YouTube unless you're a giant. Today you have platforms to replace Facebook, for example. Things like yours.org, if anyone used before, or things like memo.cash with using Bitcoin Cash, when you can... First, you can control your profile 100%. Nobody can close your profile. Nobody can ban you from using this platform. It's blockchain based. And the second one, that you get incentivized by your readers and by your commenters, and you get incentivized to participate, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. You talked about Steam it earlier, right? From a blogging perspective, you get remunerated if you're good, and if you're not, then you won't get any incentivization back. And just on the point of the traditional guys. I was at a meeting the other day, and we were talking about why don't Facebook release Facebook Coin or YouTube release YouTube Coin?
Facebook tried doing a current.
Yeah, and the reason why I don't think they can do it is because it's very hard to retrofit a blockchain economy on a business that is predicated on making money through the way they do. Because you're going to have to take a step backwards by transferring that value from what is essentially fiat. So everyone in this room, on average, YouTube you're worth about $400 a year to YouTube, whether you know that or not. If you're a frequent viewer of YouTube, you're worth more, obviously. Why do we give YouTube that money? Why don't YouTube say, JC, you're worth $400 to me, but why don't I take 100 of that dollars and I own that in some way, and then I want to distribute my engagement across other platforms. I should own that data through some type of blockchainization rather than those guys owning it. And the reason why they don't want to move into this space is because they're going to give people back the ability to take their engagement and put it elsewhere. And there ain't no way they're going to be doing that.
I mean, I'm already working on 2 projects like that, Showbuzz and Yellow Better. The thing is, how many of the people in here know about these projects? How many of you guys know these projects?
No. Exactly.
So how many people are going to jump off of YouTube to go there? Because that's where the problem starts.
This comes back to your point earlier about mass adoption. When you get critical mass, A, on awareness, B, on participation, C, on consumption, then you can start to go, right, well, people will move. Oh, I've heard of this. Oh, right, it's interesting. The trouble we have is that people just don't even know that these companies exist, and then even if they do, how they operate and work. That's a big education.
So I guess at this point I'd love to take questions from the audience, if anyone has any question, except if anyone here has any burning thought they have to share at this point as well.
Can I just say, you were going to mention Facebook Coin. They tried to release, but...
They tried to release a coin, I think 4 or 5 years ago, to promote their marketplace, which now is becoming a growing business. And it was Reddit have gold, and they kind of played with the idea of Reddit gold becoming something that's more than just tipping each other for being awesome.
Right.
And I think the main reason those companies have never done that is legal. It's really scary for them to make, because they're everywhere. Facebook is in every country, every jurisdiction in the world. And they would have to, they would have to roll it out in every jurisdiction, or they could, limit it only to US, but still, those things are very, very complicated when you're that big. It's definitely easier to start out with a template and grow with it.
I mean, I know Facebook is using blockchain because I know a blockchain developer in Facebook, but it's nothing to do with what we're talking about. It's data.
Well, Facebook these days is a conglomerate. They own all these different brands.
They're putting their data on the blockchain. So
if there is a platform which is not decentralized, it's Facebook.
That is probably a true statement. That's a true fact. Questions for anyone? Yes, please. You can just shout, I guess.
Now we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Hello? Yes. I'm afraid I have 2 questions, and there might be big questions. One of the questions is directed directly at Mr. Oliver. You're talking about incentivizing people for their behavior. Do you believe this might skew their behavior in order to get rewarded for what they're doing, essentially, watching movies, commenting, especially on commenting? In the past, we've seen this happen on old school BB Code forums, if you remember those, where people would comment and just to get more reputation on the site. And the other question is more general, talking about blockchain and entertainment. Before Facebook and MySpace, there weren't any other projects like those. Do we have any applications, completely original applications for blockchain in entertainment that are not just reimagination of the movie industry, of the gaming industry, and so on? Thank you.
Shall I take? I'll take both points first. So the first one was specifically directed at me. Yes, there is a potential that you create false incentivization.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you're going to remunerate me for my behavior, if I then overly participate or overly create, based on the fact I'm going to get something back for that can affect some people. But I think if you averaged it out, what you try and do is you're creating a new economy, which if we can smell bullshit a mile off, right? So if I get remunerated for sharing a piece of content that is rubbish, then I'm going to lose out because I lose my authenticity. So I think it works once or twice. But I don't think overall an economy can be predicated on a false incentivization. I think it will even out. And then to your second point, it's a great point, because at the moment the lens of change that we're looking through is either vertical industrial or through brand. And is there a decentralized company that is going to be agnostic like MySpace or a Facebook? And look, these are the first companies, by the way, that created audience decentralization. This is why we're all here today. We're talking about decentralized ledgers. If we look at decentralized audiences, this has been around when the internet, propped up, and this is what Facebook and MySpace created: fragmentation and decentralization. I don't see anything at the moment, and the reason why I don't see it is because, just like we don't see any great use cases on this stage or on the previous panel or probably on the panel later today, no one's done anything yet, right? We're all just puffing out hot air. Oh, this might be right, this may change the world, this might not change the world. I think you need to see some use cases first for creators and entrepreneurs to go, hang on a minute, what if we built agnostically and decentrally from the ground up in a way that was transformative? So I think, yes, the seeds of it are there. I just don't think the industry is still too nascent for that to bear fruit at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, to carry on to what JC was saying, we work on 27 ICOs. You probably don't know any of them, but there's a lot of projects out there that are trying to do something different to what it is today. It's not that they're taking streaming and just copying what they're trying to do. It's actually they're trying to give users the power back that we currently don't have. For example, one of the projects, Online.io, they're giving a virus-free, ad-free, tracking-free browsing experience. So if you install this in your web browser and the content providers who create the websites, they use it, then when you're online, you're getting paid because you're browsing their content. At the same time, the content providers are pushing you content that you actually want to read. So it's not like we're trying to do something completely different. We're not going to take a car and make it a space shuttle. It's just you're taking that piece and you're trying to make it more optimized. That it works better for you. And there's a lot of projects out there. It's just, it's going to take time.
I just wanted to comment on that. It's quite interesting the way that technology transforms thinking of entrepreneurs. The first thing people did when video came out was film theater, because we still didn't have a concept of what a film was and how you use a camera to create that format. And I think the first thing they did on television was televised radio.
That's right.
So it's really interesting how, when I first learned about Bitcoin in 2013, there was all this innovation happening. I remember there was this day when I finally figured out Bitcoin. I understood what it is and how it works. And then the next day I learned about Litecoin, and I was like, God damn it, there's another one. Now I have to learn about more stuff.
Now there's 1,700.
Yeah. And anything anyone did in 2013 was basically knockoffs of Bitcoin. Nobody had any really original ideas. And then Vitalik Buterin came out and said, let's do a general purpose smart contract platform. And then we had a lot of general purpose smart contract platforms in 2015. I think the real innovation started in the beginning of last year when people said, you know what? It doesn't have anything to do with cryptocurrency, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a developer tool. Let's create decentralized versions of what we see today. I think in themselves, that's revolution. The thing is that the technology is just taking its time to catch up with it. It's very hard to have a distributed network of computers do things as fast as WhatsApp or Facebook or any of these huge services that we use. So there's definitely the place of education. But education is great, but I think marketing is here and technology is here in the space right now. So we're just kind of waiting for the devs to do some magic while we're prepping up and raising the money and getting all these great ideas out there. And definitely on the topic of skewing people's behavior, I think the most brilliant people that I have met that deal with token economics don't just look at incentivizing people, but they also look at penalizing people, punishing them for bad behavior. And how you create that in your token economics to make sure that you have a balanced system. Because if you just give people rewards for doing A, then it's kind of like I have a client, it's a very big ad network in Israel called IronSource, like a 900-person company, and they do most of advertisements on mobile games in the world, like 60% of the market. So one of the biggest problems they have is if you're an ad network, you onboard publishers, you know, like games or New York Times, like websites, whatever. You onboard them in an automatic way. You don't talk to each one of them on the phone. So you can have somebody coming and saying they have 1 million hits per day. Those are just bots. Or a click farm in some third world country. How do you know that's not a fraudulent behavior? And they told me 30% of ad revenue on mobile games goes to fraud. You know, that's insane.
That's right.
So when you give people rewards and you're like, hey, here's an ad network, connect to us and show our ads to your audience and get money, people will go and try to hack that. So anti-fraud thinking, I think, is one of the most brilliant ways of innovating in this space and not just rewarding people. Just a thought on that.
We should not forget that the idea of the tokens is to give the ability of creating something that was not before. And I can give an example of the first poker brand using a cryptocurrency called Seal Suites Club. It was 2012 in the US. A nice guy called Brian Micon, I think, as far as I remember. And he saw that PokerStars and all the big merchants in the poker industry are losing players in the registration fund because these players want to keep anonymous.
Yeah, right.
I want to play online poker without anyone know who I am. And he did some mistake establishing it in the US, but never mind. The idea is that the blockchain idea, Bitcoin transaction, solved a very simple problem of anonymity back then. And that was the business model. Today, like Litecoin, the second coin in the 1700, you said?
Oh, yeah, even more
and
now.
so on. And all this innovation coming, you said the technology is here and marketing is here, I totally agree. That's where we're going. And once we find the solution, once we deliver the solutions, we're moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, I think most of the leaders in the space are completely controversial. Roger Ver, Jimmy Song, I could keep going on. But it's not that they're controversial, and it's like who's sane and who's insane. I think, for my opinion, talking to most of them, they're the ones who have the right mind of doing something better for this world, and everyone else is just trying to fire on them. You know, is trying to talk bad towards them. So if this community is very open-minded, and this is a community that is going to change the world, it's just about embracing it. This is where the blockchain is going.
Embrace. Does anyone have another question? That was a really good conversation starter right there. Crickets. All right. I guess that's us, right? Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much.